Hi everyone, wishing you all a great day. Today we're going to explore a gripping story full of twists and secrets. From hidden family ties to a mysterious woman known as the Black Fox, everything is about to change for James and Diep. If you enjoy this kind of story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. The scent of fresh paint still hung in the air, soft and warm, blending with the quiet chime of bells swaying gently by the front door. It was meant to be a surprise. James had spent weeks building this new house for Diep. A gift, a dream, something beautiful to show her how much she meant to him. She wasn't supposed to be here yet. Not until he finished the garden she adored, the cozy piano room she always wanted, and the custom bookshelf he promised to fill with her favorite stories. But something pulled her there that day. A strange intuition, a tightening in her chest that wouldn't let her ignore it. Whether it was instinct or fate, Diep stepped through the door quietly. The house greeted her with silence, then suddenly a sound, soft, airy. A woman's laugh, Diep's breath caught. She followed it down the hallway, every step feeling heavier than the last. Her heart pounded as she reached the doorway of what was meant to be their shared bedroom. And there, standing too close, way too close, was James's secretary, Trang. Her hand rested on his chest, her smile full of something more than professionalism. Diep froze. James turned, his face lighting up. Until he saw her, the smile fell instantly. "Diep, what are you doing here?" She didn't answer. She couldn't. The image was already burned into her memory. She turned and ran. Out the door, into the rain, into the storm both outside and inside her heart. James rushed after her, shouting her name through the downpour. "Diep, wait! It's not what it looks like!" But how many times had that phrase been used to cover 1,000 different betrayals? Diep vanished for days. She shut off her phone, ignored friends, skipped her shifts at the market. Her world, once so full of certainty, had collapsed into confusion and pain. Had James really done this to her? Back at the office, James stormed into Trang's workspace, fury in his eyes. "What were you doing?" he snapped. Trang's face was calm, collected. "I was comforting you. You've been so stressed lately. You didn't exactly push me away." "I was shocked," he replied. "You planned this. You knew Diep would come." Trang didn't flinch. "Maybe now she'll realize you belong with someone who understands your world." In that moment, James saw it clearly. It was a setup. When James finally found Diep again, she was sitting by the riverside, the same place where they once talked about building a life together. He sat beside her, quiet at first. "I know what you saw hurt you," he said softly. "But I need you to hear the truth. I never touched her. I never wanted her. She planned the whole thing." Diep didn't look at him. Her eyes stayed fixed on the water. "I believed in us, James. But that day, I looked at you and didn't recognize the man I loved." James didn't defend himself further. "I don't expect you to forgive me right now," he said. "But I'll wait. I'll do whatever it takes to earn your trust again. Not with promises or gifts, but with truth and time." She didn't say anything, but she didn't move away when he gently took her hand, not to hold, just to let her feel his presence. And maybe, just maybe, that meant she hadn't stopped loving him. Diep left the riverbank without saying a word. but the look she gave him said everything. "I'm not ready." James didn't chase her again. This time he stayed still, but he made sure she knew he hadn't given up. Fresh flowers appeared at her doorstep. Her favourite books, the ones she'd lent him, came back with notes scribbled inside, little memories shared between the lines. One day, a bowl of warm soup was left at her gate, steam still rising. Tucked beneath it was a napkin that read, "I remember what you love, even if you've forgotten why you loved me." She stormed into James's office, heels sharp on the tile, dressed like power and confidence had a form.
"You still think she's coming back after all this?" she scoffed. James looked up, tired but steady. "I don't care how long it takes. She deserves the truth, and I'll wait." Trang sneered. "You were lonely, James. I saw it. We could—" "No," he cut her off, standing tall. "You didn't see loneliness. You saw weakness, and you tried to exploit it. That's not love, Trang. That's ambition. Wearing perfume." She left without another word. For the first time, she had no comeback. Weeks passed. Then one morning, Diep found a package in her mailbox. Inside, no flowers, no gifts, just a letter, raw, honest, and filled with remorse. "I never imagined I could hurt you by simply standing still while someone else crossed a line. That look in your eyes, when you saw me like a stranger, I'll carry it forever. I want to be worthy again. Not by promises, but through change.
Even if our dream never becomes reality, I want you to know I loved you then. I love you still. I always will. James." Diep folded the letter with trembling hands. Her heart was still bruised, guarded, but it hadn't stopped beating for him. One rainy afternoon, James stood once more at the house he'd built for her. Now quiet, the vines slowly climbing the garden walls. Then, through the mist, a figure emerged, Diep, umbrella in hand. She didn't say anything. She simply handed him a folded piece of paper. He opened it. "I'll come home if you promise it's the truth from now on." James looked up, tears in his eyes. "It always was deep," he said. "I was just too blind to protect it." She gave him the faintest smile, and together they walked into the house, not as strangers, not as victims of betrayal, but as two people learning how to trust again. James stood silently at the edge of the warehouse. The rain had stopped, but the air was thick with tension. Inside, Diep was handcuffed to a chair, bruised but alert. John paced in front of her, his voice low and mocking. "You really thought James would save you?" John sneered. "He's too busy protecting his empire to care about you." Diep didn't flinch. "You don't know him." John leaned closer. "No, but I know power and fear, and James, he's not who you think." Suddenly the power cut out. Darkness swallowed the room. A moment later, crash, a metal door slammed open. Flashlights flickered. Voices shouted. It was James, in full tactical gear, flanked by two loyal men. James moved fast. "Get her out," he ordered, eyes locked on John. But before they could reach her, a cold voice echoed through the warehouse. "Well done, James, but you're too late." From the shadows emerged a man in a black coat and gloves. The Serpent. His face was calm, eyes like stone. He held a phone in one hand, and with a tap, a screen lit up behind him, showing James's company HQ engulfed in flames. "You saved the girl, but lost your legacy." James froze. "What do you want?" The Serpent smirked. "I want you to understand, this was never about Diep."
It was about you. Your family stole from mine. Your father destroyed lives to build his empire, and now I'm returning the favor." Diep, struggling to stand, shouted, "James, don't listen, it's a trap!" But it was too late. John pulled out a hidden gun and fired. James dropped just in time. The bullet missed, barely. One of his men returned fire, hitting John in the leg. Screams echoed as chaos broke out. In the midst of it all, James crawled to Diep, unlocking her cuffs. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head.
"No, but we need to end this." Together they turned to face the serpent, but he was gone, vanished into the smoke. Back at a safe house hours later, James sat beside Diep, gently wrapping her wounds. She winced slightly but smiled. "You really faked being in the hospital just to find me?" James looked into her eyes. "I'd fake my death if it meant keeping you safe." She placed a hand on her stomach. "Then you need to stay alive, for both of us." James stared in shock. "You're pregnant?" Diep nodded, tears welling in her eyes. A long silence passed. Then James leaned forward, resting his forehead against hers. "We'll protect this baby, no matter what." The next morning, James held a press conference, revealing everything: the corruption, the sabotage, the serpent's threats. It shocked the public, but gained him sympathy and support. Investigations were launched, arrests followed. But as one chapter closed, another began. That evening, a woman knocked on their door. She wore a black suit and sunglasses. "I'm Mai," she said. "Your half-sister." James stared, stunned. She handed him a small box. Inside was a photograph. His father standing beside another woman, holding a baby. "I came to warn you," she said. "The serpent isn't alone. Someone even more dangerous is coming. They call her the Black Fox." James and Diep exchanged a glance. There was no time to celebrate peace, not yet. James stared at Mai, his mind reeling. The revelation of a half-sister, the photo of his father with another woman, it all felt surreal. Diep gently touched his arm. "James, are you okay?" He blinked. "I don't know. Everything's changing so fast." Mai stepped inside, her expression calm but serious. "I didn't come just to shock you. I came because your life, and your child's, is in danger. The Black Fox is ruthless. She doesn't just destroy empires, she erases bloodlines." James stood, his voice firm. "Why warn me?" Mai looked down. "Because I couldn't save my own mother, and because, despite everything, you're still my brother." A tense silence followed. Then James said quietly, "Okay. If what you say is true, we need to be ready." Diep stood up beside him. "We've fought before. We can fight again." Mai opened a folder she'd brought. Inside were names, photos, secret locations. These are her lieutenants, her methods. She's been operating in the shadows for years, but now she's making moves in Vietnam, and she's connected to the serpent. James clenched his fists. "Then we hit her before she hits us." Mai raised an eyebrow. "That's not how she works. You don't hit the Black Fox, you survive her." A beat of silence. Then James said, "Not if we become the hunters." 2 nights later, James and Diep sat on the rooftop of their safe house. The city lights below blinked like stars. A soft breeze blew through her hair. "I never thought life would be like this," Diep whispered. "Guns, secrets, half-siblings, enemies with animal names." James chuckled softly. "You forgot fake hospital stays." She smiled, leaning on his shoulder. "I'm scared, James, not just for us. for our child." He wrapped his arm around her. "Then we fight smarter. We don't just protect ourselves, we build something better." She looked up. "Like what?" "A home, a future, one they can't take away." In the distance, lightning flashed again. But this time, James didn't flinch, because war was coming. And he was ready. After faking his hospital stay to protect Diep and their unborn child, James is thrust into a deeper web of secrets when a mysterious woman named Mai appears, claiming to be his half-sister. With proof in hand and a warning about a powerful enemy called the Black Fox, Mai reveals shocking truths about their family's past and a looming threat that could destroy them all. As tensions rise and danger draws closer, James and Diep must decide whether to trust Mai and fight back, or risk losing everything. With betrayal, family revelations, and a deadly mastermind lurking in the shadows, their love and survival will be tested like never before. But James is no longer the man he once was. He's ready for war. And this time, he won't back down.